Hey everybody, and welcome back to this. Welcome to the Funhouse is what I've decided today to go ahead and call this after some help from one of my favorite AIs. So anyway, just throwing that out there. So we had a very lengthy discussion about what I should call my projects. Okay, so we are on to the exclusionary criteria. So these are criteria C, D, and E in the DSM-5 in the alternate model of personality disorders. And so let's just get right into it. This is section two. No, they are not. These are the exclusionary criteria, which means exactly what it sounds like. These are the criteria that tell you who can't be diagnosed with NPD. I want to get this out of the way in the beginning because it's not incredibly arcane or controversial, and I want to make it clear that neither of my subjects fall into any of these categories. Chapter 2. No, they are not. Only like this with me. This behavior happens all the time with everybody. Personality disorders aren't usually, ever, diagnosed until the individual has reached the so-called age of reason, which in the United States is 18. Once someone is considered an adult, however, all bets are off. That is the subject of the next criterion, though. This criterion is all about the pathological nature of NPD. The words narcissist and narcissism, it's kind of fun, I like this, narcissism. I'm just going to go this way. Yay. And narcissism are terms colloquially thrown at every person who seems the slightest bit arrogant. But NPD is a severe, marked collection of character traits that knows no bounds of age, technically past adulthood, but it's probably at least a little bit congenital, or relationship. Someone with mild narcissistic tendencies acts like a diva on her birthday, but is otherwise a sweet girl. A narcissist is an asshole to everyone in every place at every time and was, is, or will be until they suck their last mole of oxygen. It is what they are, not how they act in a specific circumstance. Oh my God, excuse me. Ugh. As I was never around them in any relevant sense in any other situations, I can only assume that they were like this all the time. Maybe they weren't. I addressed that in the introduction. There is some evidence that suggests that they were, though, and some of those instances are recounted in this book. So just meaning, nope, I'm not doing that. Smack in my hand. A narcissist exhibits the pathological traits of NPD with their spouse, their children, cashiers, other drivers, at work, on the golf course, in the beauty salon, while shopping, hell, probably in their dreams. I wonder if their nightmares involve trying to mindfuck the killer into dropping the knife. Does it work? I bet it does. It must, right? How can you get stabbed in your own nocturnal fantasy because your real life bullshit doesn't work in your own imagination? It informs what they fantasize about, what job they want to do, which sports their children try out for, if they'll even allow their spouse to wear yellow. That's what pathological means. I like to think of the word broken up in parts. Pathological. On someone's life path, this manner of being is logical to them. The disorder is an ever present subconscious source of information about how to live life. Chapter 3. No, they are not. Children or celebrities. Adults with nothing to brag about don't act like this. Simply put, this is the not a child, not a celebrity criterion. Insofar as children are expected to act narcissistic at a young age, and to a certain extent well into their teenage years, you unfortunately cannot diagnose a toddler with NPD. You can, however, spot the similarities between narcissists and toddlers. Likewise, you cannot label a celebrity in the course of being a celebrity, interviews, promotional tours, and the like, just as you can't diagnose a bridezilla or someone giving a victory speech. You can, however, juxtapose the incessant haughtiness of that peculiar coworker who trumpets that they're the boss's pet because they land the most deals. It's because they're the only person tasked with making said deals, with a celebrity who is promoting their new material on the talk show circuit. Of all of the criteria that are glazed over when frivolously doling out armchair diagnoses, this one is obviously the most violated. It is quite easy for people to be put off by the swagger of a celebrity during an interview, or the bravado of a politician during an election speech, or the conniption fits of children, but none of these situations even begin to hint at the depth of gravity of true narcissism. Oh no. Oh my goodness. What's wrong with being confident? I'm conceited, but I got a reason. If this touchstone does not apply, you just might be dealing with a genuine specimen. Chapter 4. No, they are not. Drug addicts or brain damaged. Well, maybe. And I think I need three dots here, right? And did I have three dots at the beginning of chapter three? Yeah. There isn't a measurable physiological condition causing the behavior. This criterion is extremely useful if you consider the implication. People who are intoxicated can appear narcissistic. Same goes for brain trauma. Google Phineas Gage, trigger warning, museum-worthy brain impalement. The funny thing about this is, however, philosophical. What's the difference between someone born with a neurological anomaly that causes a personality disorder or other mental illness and someone who acquires one through traumatic brain injury or excessive substance abuse? Many people tend to ignore the fact that sometimes a traumatic brain injury isn't the result of well-reasoned behavior. People who acquire a personality disorder after their parachute doesn't open while skydiving, or from a career full of sports-related concussions, or who suffer several strokes because they just don't quit eating corned beef and chain smoking, are often regarded as victims of an accident or lifestyle choice, whereas people who are born with these deficits are crazy assholes who need therapy. But enough about the stigma associated with mental illness. Back to narcissism. This is the criterion that reminds you to consider the possibility of brain injury, either physical or chemical, and seek medical care first if the situation calls for it. That's not cool. How do I just undo? Oh my goodness. I can't even. This is so weird. Ah, holy cow. Jeez. Okay, this is the criterion that reminds you to consider the possibility of brain injury, either physical or chemical, and seek medical care first if the situation calls for it. On the other hand, the idea of drug-induced narcissistic behavior inspires a great comparison. Suppose someone starts out drinking beer daily. At first, it's one beer, then two, then three, until it's not possible for them to feel the desired buzz without guzzling quickly and peeing too frequently. Instead of escalating to hard liquor after realizing that their tolerance for the alcohol has surpassed the effect that beer can reasonably provide, they march back to the store and announce that they have been sold bad beer. Sounds pretty bizarre, doesn't it? This is what happens to narcissists in relationships. When the desired effect of being around a person shifts from warm fuzzies and infatuation to the security of intimacy, the buzz wears off. Compounding the problem is the fact that the more comfortable we feel with people, the more comfortable we feel with disagreeing with them or giving supportive yet constructive criticism. The narcissist doesn't handle this well. Instead of understanding that this is normal and seeking to find the desired psychological state through self driven activities or several various relationships, thinking friends here, not lovers, they blame their partner for not giving them the attention they need. In other words, instead of finding a hobby and or joining a book club or a bowling league to broaden their social environment, the narcissist feels the preferred social environment is suffering in an offensive way once the newness wears off. They genuinely feel as though the high of being around someone is something that is given by the person, the stimulus, not simply their own reaction to a stimulus. What typical people experience as intimacy that is the result of empathy and familiarity is not something that the narcissist ever achieves, because they are blinded by their addiction to the thrill of infatuation and attention, as well as exclusive admiration. She sort of had a drug problem, and he may have been in an accident that caused brain damage. Her recreational use didn't seem to be the catalyst of, nor reason for, her behavior, and I can't imagine that if he'd survived a life-altering accident, it wouldn't have come up at some point. He did claim to have had a stroke in 2015, but we met in 2013 after he sat down next to me at a bus stop, wouldn't stop talking, followed me onto the bus, sat next to me, talked until I got up and moved, followed me, responded to my "what the hell are you doing" with a "it's okay, I'm just making sure you get back to town," and then followed me off the bus and damn near all the way home. So no, he was not normal pre-alleged stroke. So that concludes the exclusionary criteria. So I told you that would be easy. It's short and sweet and to the point, right? So next up, section three is personality problems, or why are they like this? And all of my formatting, it seems, is gone awry or strange. I don't know what's up with this line. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I haven't used pages in eons. Okay, anyway. So yeah, so next up will be section three, the personality problems. Why are they like this? And this is when we really start getting into the gravy. So now that all of the initial um, introduction, we've got our groundwork laid, the exclusionary criteria are done. They don't fall into any of these categories. They're definitely allegedly just two normal adults, aside from all of these strange behaviors, and whether or not they were only ever engaged in and outside of being around me, I'm pretty 80/20 on, right? Like I said, I feel like I got enough information from other people around that gives reason to believe that they were just like this all the time and it wasn't some sort of like direct um, it wasn't something to do with me or like something particular to our relationship or something that they believed. So like thinking about some like imagine if there was a rumor going around about you that you'd never heard, but everybody like thinks it's true, and so they just and let's say like it's not even particularly bad. Like let's say it's a rumor that you won like $10,000 on a scratch lotto ticket or something like that, and it just isn't true. But suddenly everybody seems to think that you have money. Right. And you're just like, I don't understand why everybody, like you go out to lunch like you normally, like let's say every Friday you and your coworkers go to happy hour after work or something, and everybody's like, we should make Cat buy this round. And you're just like, why would I buy this round? And it's like, well, money bags, aren't you good for it? And you're just, what the hell is everybody talking about? Right. Where it's like, it's not like it was the way that they were behaving was something exclusively peculiar to me in particular. It was definitely something that was particular to them, but perhaps for some reason there was something about our relationships in particular that I mean, I lived with them, right? So of course I was going to be around them more frequently and privy to more like necessarily objective interactions with them and more opportunities for these problems to arise, right? So, like I said, I didn't really want to do too much of that in this, but I just wanted to make that really, really clear when starting this, that paragraph before when I was about to start and interject with all of this, that's what I'm getting at there is that I feel like I got enough, gossipy you know, backbiting information or whatever about them from other people to land on, yeah, they're like this all the time. But it's also just hearsay, and it also isn't like a huge amount of information, right? It's not like a bunch of us were getting together to have an intervention with these people or something like that, right? So, but anyway, all that being said, that concludes this particular video, and I will see you all in the next one, hopefully. Okay, bye.